I was
Yeah,
just saying to Yasmin, I had music queued up on my first one, and now I don't
ready
have
to
music
go.
queued up on this one. So we're just gonna keep it rolling. Welcome to Victorious Leadership Live, where we talk about the real deal. We talk about leadership
Hmm.
raw and things that are going down. Now, this is a show on leadership in hospitality. And my guest, now we met in hospitality, but she has experience outside of that as well. So you when I ask you these questions, Yasmin, you can go inside and outside of hospitality for this. Leadership is leadership
Right.
anyway. Right, we agree with that.
Mm,
So
yeah.
you just and we were just on a show earlier, so just like we did on this show, Yasmin, will you just take yourself off mute, say hello to everybody, and tell us who you are and what you're currently doing these days? You got a number of hats that you're wearing, right? So
Yes.
tell our
Yes.
listeners what you're doing.
So happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me back. For those who do not know me, just to give you a formal introduction, my name is Yasmin Duncan, and I'm the CEO and founder of Duncan Workforce Solutions. That is a workplace and workforce advisory firm. We are headquartered in Delaware, and we also support New York State. So super excited about that. In addition, I also have my movement, which is called the Sisterhood Society for Women of Color. Our mission is to provide the tactical, emotional, and psychological resources so that Black women can thrive in their careers and in life or whatever it looks like that they want to pursue. As far as my background, I am a 20-year HR executive. I've worked in a myriad of different industries, everything from fashion, beauty, startup, hospitality, which hotels is where I met Victor. Dabbled in the nonprofit space as well. So I definitely have worked across the gamut. And the beautiful thing that that has given me is to have a resourceful tool belt. I have worked in so many different industries and in so many different roles, from HR temp all the way up to the global C suite. So it's nice to have a very decorative tool belt that I can pull from to support the people that are put in my charge. So that's just a little bit about me, and I'm happy to be here.
That's awesome. Thank you. So I want to go back to the origin story in hospitality is the first question. But
Hmm.
before we do that, I am going to ask you this because I used to tell this story, and now I quite frankly I don't remember how it plays out. I know that we talked about an opportunity that was in Brooklyn. We talked about that,
Yes.
and it was the GM that was opening this hotel gave me your resume along with a few others, and I was like, oh wow, I just loved the background and was very excited to meet with you. We did, and then do I have this right? You turned me down, right? Didn't I offer you the
Yes,
opportunity and
I
you turned me
did.
down?
You know
Yes.
what? I was
You,
really excited about the brand. I have to, can I say the brand?
yeah,
Because
sure. Go ahead.
yeah, I was really excited. It was Ace.
Yes.
So it was Ace Hotels. I was really excited about it, but that commute, I'm like, to Brooklyn, do I want to go that far? What does that look like? I know it was a brand new hotel. It would be a brand new hotel, non-union for but so long, and then goes those wonderful negotiations that we love to do.
Yeah.
And I said, do I want to go that route? So I wasn't sure, but I knew that I absolutely wanted to keep in touch with the GM who was referring me
Yeah.
to that property, which I'm still connected with Tim today. And then, of course, yourself. And all
Yeah.
these years later, here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to, and listen, y'all. I tried to hire a couple other times too, or
You did.
and then when that didn't work, then I started sending her opportunities that I saw. Oh, like, well, look at this. But now by now she's chief people officer, so I like, that was she was already on her way. Which, quite frankly, we were saying even before we were talking about making an offer. We are like, I think she's on to bigger and better things. This might be not the right role for her because she's already
Mm,
aspiring, and maybe we should look at an area opportunity which we weren't ready for yet at
mm.
that time. But it all worked out. We have been fast friends ever since. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes, indeed.
yeah. All right. So looking back, I want you to think about early experiences, right? Because that's
Okay.
usually where we skin our knee, where we stub our toe, and Think about an early experience or a moment how you lead today. What happened back then that you now still kind of carry yourself a certain way and lead a certain way because of that experience?
Absolutely. When I look back on my career and look at the teams that I've been on, I was always the only Black female, the only Afro Latina, the only woman sometimes on the team.
Mm,
And it's interesting because in 2020, we started to have all these insightful conversations because we're locked up in our homes. So we're listening to podcasts and conversations on YouTube about people navigating, struggling being the only. And I'm sure that can be uncomfortable because you feel like there's no one that understands your story, the challenges that you have, trying to climb, trying to navigate psychologically, is really where the challenges are. I allow that to be a superpower to me. I am
love
the
it.
only one here. So what can I bring to the conversation? How can I break up the group think that may be present? What other perspective can I add? How can I highlight or advocate as an HR leader for some individuals who may be getting overlooked, but it's not thought that they are getting overlooked,
Yeah.
right? How do I highlight that and bring that to the forefront? And that's a choice. Like we have choices not in just the decisions that we make, but
Totally.
also in how we think. We have choices in the perspectives that we have.
Hmm.
Choosing to change your perspective. I can allow this challenge to impact me because it feels like so impactful, or how can I turn this around for not only my good so I can feel better, right?
Yeah.
And not
Yeah.
feel like this anomaly, but also to help someone get up in
Yeah.
their journey. And having that perspective allowed me to create legacy. What I love is when I do go back to the hotel that I worked at, people that maybe were bellmen are now supervisors or managers in FMB or other areas in the hotel, or maybe they left. Hey, I'm trying to break into another career. I'm glad you popped in. This is perfect timing. Can I use you as a reference? That has
Mm,
happened.
yeah.
And when he got the job, he texted me, "Thank you so much. I'm here. By the way, FYI, I haven't talked to you in a year. Just I hope this is still your number.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got promoted. I'm able to provide for my family." These are things that matter. As HR, we are the gatekeepers for who comes in our organizations, who's put in our charge, who may be invisible, or who aren't even aware, those people who are not even aware of their strokes of genius and what they bring and what they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So legacy is always something that's in mind for me.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. Love that. It makes me think of so many situations that I've been in where you carry yourself a certain way, but it's not just for yourself; it's for those around you or those that they didn't see it, right, and now they're being seen, and they feel so much more for the better after that, right? Because
Mm.
now they've been seen. So that's wonderful. Wonderful.
Hmm.
Um, all right. Here's what I want to understand, from the outside. And I think about the first time I found out that you had made it to CPO. And no, no, yeah, not at the
Okay.
bakery, the role before that.
Oh, that
I
was
think
a
that
VP.
retail, right? VP, yeah, VP.
Yeah, VP.
Was that where were you at when?
Camp. Camp.
Yes,
The
yes.
startup.
I saw that on LinkedIn. I was like, woo, wow, she does made it. Look at the success. And so,
Mm.
what I want to ask you about is, people from the outside, they see that, but they don't really see the pressure, the responsibility that's going on behind the scenes. And has that changed how you lead? Because it looks one way on the outside, but what's really going on the inside? And so, does that change or not change on how you lead?
I think, oh, that's such a good question. I think
Mhm.
so. I mean, at camp would be a perfect example. Camp was a startup. Camp is a startup, maybe not so more. I mean, they've been around for a little while now. But at the time that I came on as the VP of HR, I was the first VP of HR. They were looking for someone who can really establish the HR function and establish HR transformation for how they were doing things, to really
Mm,
set it up in a way that was orderly, that can support scaling the organization. And the pressure comes from, what I'm creating, the policies that I'm creating, how we're operating as an HR team with the team, the roles that I'm creating. I established departments that did not exist.
mm,
L&D wasn't something that existed. We hired an L&D director, someone that I have known for years, previously worked with, and absolutely adore,
mm.
to come on and lead L&D. Shout out to Meredith Pierce. I also brought on Miguel Morales. Shout out to Miguel. We love Miguel.
Nice.
He
Yeah,
came
give
on
your
to
team the flowers.
yeah, to came on to support um, and build out L&D curricula. Like together as a
Mm,
collective, we literally like from an academic standpoint, if a person enters this program, if this is a high performing employee, what are we going over with them? We didn't want it to be your standard 101, how to manage a person, how to have a coaching conversation. We got to get beyond that. Let's go into really core competencies of courage, how to lead from strategy, that they can understand strategy, right? That they understand the business lines, the business acumen of their locations, P&L. I mean, even like we want them to really leave here and
sure.
have camp be a place to say, I grew here and I learned so much. I built my competency as a leader. I built my mental agility.
Yeah, yeah.
And to establish that where it didn't exist was great. But are we building it in a way that really is of service to now?
Mm,
Like, or is this something that is it going to function in the same way? All these courses we made. I mean, we wrote up the curricula, we defined of what we wanted to be taught. Miguel Morales, check him, find him on LinkedIn. I've never met a person who can do absolutely everything and with excellence
I
and
need to
well.
check it out. I don't know if we're connected. I don't
Like
think I
when I
that.
tell you this man, I cannot. He will record, he edits content, he drafts content.
Mm,
He's at the locations, he's checking to measure if what we're creating makes sense. Because oftentimes us as leaders can get caught up in all the busy we're creating in the ivory tower, but it's not working in the field.
yeah,
So we were able, which is great, but like, does this really scale?
yeah,
That's something that you think about, beyond year one, year two, year three. Sure, there's things that you're going to have to tweak, but I think with a startup, that's something that was always on my mind. Like what the decisions that we're making now, I'm thinking we're going to create what will be a past practice.
yeah. Awesome.
How will this serve? Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot goes into that, and basically what I'm hearing is you spread that pressure around. You give that out to everybody so that they're able to take care of all of that because you were building a lot of stuff from the ground up, right?
Absolutely. And I love that you said that and that's what you heard because pressure is delegated.
Yeah,
That shouldn't be something on the leader. We all need to work in excellence. It's a
yeah,
standard. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. All right. So let's talk about a leadership miss. Let's talk about one a swing
Mm.
and a miss. So think about a decision that you made earlier in your career that you would handle differently now. What did you learn from that moment? What did that teach
Mm. I think it's important to be really attuned to your capacity,
you?
really attuned to when you are like internally full. Because when you're internally full, like, okay, I've had all the conversations I could have. I'm peopled out. I need a minute to just, recenter, refocus so I can show up as my best self. And there were
Mm,
points, and I don't have anything particular, but this stands out clearly with the question that you asked of not taking those moments to breathe, to recalibrate, to have a woosah, to check in to see where I am. If
mm,
if I'm even able to have the ability to be fully present in this next conversation. And as HR leaders, if we can lead strategy and if we can have hard conversations with people, we absolutely can come forward to say, I know that we have this scheduled, but I need to move it. I need to make space in my calendar today, and I do not have capacity for this. This is absolutely my priority. I would be best to be present for this on Monday. And that's a ritual, a work ritual that I have, that I do. I have for years now at work. If you're not able to show up as your best self, what's the point in taking the meeting? There was a camp was an example of it. We were driving DEI. DEI was a core focus. We had an outside consultant, Lovely, that we worked with. And I
Hmm.
had a number of questions for that consultant for a rolling, ongoing DEI strategy that we were rolling out. And we scheduled this call. So it was the former CPO, this consultant and me, and I wasn't present. My mind was 10,000 places. I'm talking on the phone, not even at a desk, not in the office, not even at the field at a location. I'm in transit, going in and out of like having connection or Wi Fi scattered on the call that, quite frankly, was set up because of all these questions that I had, but I wasn't even clear minded to be present. I should have
Yeah.
taken the moment. I should have rescheduled the conversation or not shown up.
Ah, okay. So that's what
Yeah.
you learned. Okay. Before I go to the next question, as you were talking, my mind started drifting. Like, you know what? I've been talking to this woman. I talked to you. Was it just yesterday? We had a quick call, like
Yeah.
27 minutes. You needed to run off to another call,
Hmm.
and then you were on this call I alluded to earlier today. But I haven't asked you how are you doing because I know we talked a
Hmm.
month ago or so. And so, how are you doing, lady? How are you?
I'm good, and I love that. Thank you. I'm good.
Okay,
I am a mix of being in hustle mode, but
yeah,
also balancing that well-being and keeping
yeah,
those rituals present, reminding myself, hey, you know, your
yeah,
morning rituals are slipping. My morning rituals have slipping because there is so much running gunning, you
yeah,
know, in that work time. But and for all the projects, all the things that need to be done, but I absolutely do keep the boundaries of taking that minute and that rest. I
yeah,
literally have blocks in my calendar, like if I have back-to-back calls, rest. I
yeah.
had someone yesterday. I had a slot. I didn't block it. They put 30 minutes. No, no, hey, I see you just put this on my calendar. Can't accept this. Can we move this to Monday? To keep those rest. So that's what's been keeping me maintained,
Yeah,
is having those moments of rest, but keeping those boundaries, so I can just have a moment to breathe and stay in tune with my capacity.
yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Well, good. I'm glad you're doing good.
Thank you.
Um, Tell me. I want to talk about what do you see in terms of leaders where they most often get it wrong when balancing the human side of leadership with the demands of business. So tell me,
Um,
what do you see happen a lot of times?
Leaders forget their journey. They forget the climb up. It's
Mm,
interesting, like the higher you go, I've watched leaders become very rigid. We need to put this, we need to put so and so on a pip. It's just not working. Okay. Is she aware it's not working? He, she, or they, are they aware it's not? What's not working? When did it stop working? Have you been coaching, having conversations? I find leaders can get so caught in the busy of trying to check the box to do all
yeah,
the things that we forget who we need to be for the people that we lead. Remember when you were a manager or director? Remember when you were a director and you were kind of slipping on the deadlines or the work? You had some personal stuff going on. Like, did you check in? We're so quick to either exit someone in the times that we're in, or talk about documentation, or share feedback on an employee and they haven't even received the feedback from them because we just need to move on to the next thing we're done. We forget of our journey on the climb when we were trying to figure it out, when we were trying to develop ourselves as professionals in the lane and in the industry that we work in. And it's important to put yourself in the employee's shoes or the person's shoes, of when you were there and how you would want to be handled and treated and checked in on. It's important.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that I commonly see as people climb higher up the ladder
Mhm.
at work.
Forgot where they come from. In fact, if we have folks that are listening in live right now, I'm gonna check the chat and see if there's anything in here. Because I can't tell you how many times throughout the course of my career that I do have a leader come to me and say, "This is not working out. We need to do a PIP." And I say, "Okay, tell me about the coaching that's been going on. Tell me about the warnings that you've given this person. What's limit? Let's look at the file and see what's been documented." And I can't tell you how many times it's never been done, and I don't get it. I know how they would feel if someone came to them and said, "You know what, this is not working out. We're going to give you, well, it used to be 90 days. I can remember just a year and a half ago. Now I got leaders asking, "Oh, we want to put them on a 30-day PIP." I'm like, you can't even, you think about our personal
Right.
lives. You want to lose some weight, you want to stop smoking, you want to, whatever it is, you're going to turn that around inside of 30 days. And now you're asking this person with whatever that thing is with no prior warning. Oh, I'm about to, let me get off my, let me get off my rant and just pull it back in and say, it's just common if you just think about yourself, right? Where you came
Yeah.
from and how you were, So okay, all right. Enough said about enough
No,
said
but you
about
get
that.
it. Absolutely. Right on target.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about what actually works. When things get hard or messy, what's one leadership practice or a mindset? And you kind of talked about this, so I'm curious if it's the same thing or something different. But tell me about what's one leadership practice or mindset that consistently helps you show up better. What is that?
Two things. First, I talked about legacy a lot. I really believe in that. Legacy over hard things. This is a very
Yeah.
frustrating day. It's a very frustrating moment, but I'm in a wonderful opportunity because I sit at the helm of this ship next to the captain of the ship to change
Yeah.
things. So I have reframed
Oh,
that
yeah.
perspective. It's super important. The other is I have an affirmation box. I have an affirmation.
Mm,
Sometimes I'll keep it in a Ziploc bag or literally a little box at work, and I absolutely have one home. All of any card, letter, um, anything that has been given to me from employees at work, I have kept everything. And the really hard days, sometimes you need the reminder of who you are and the impact that you have. And it's so nice to read
mm,
through those letters to remind you of your why. Why am I here? Why am I doing
yeah.
this? Why am I pushing forward, advocating for this? When you're advocating for an initiative, you put so much work in, you and your team, so many hours, you're getting the runaround. And then the last minute of the time, the CEO is just no longer interested, doesn't want to hear, wants to move on, wants you to stop talking about it. But you know that this would be so impactful. It's super discouraging, right? That's a great time to look in your affirmation box. And when I come home after a really hard day, the one in my house is like very full. I mean, all the way down to
Mm,
like fairly family heirlooms was given to me from the impact that I've had on employees. Like this is something that they would pass down in their family. They gave that to me for how they felt so psychologically safe and heard and seen under my leadership from the HR side. That's huge. So those reminders are important and that actually works. Gets my head back in the game. We all have to find
I
what is our
really
fuel.
love that.
You got to find your fuel
Have
in the
you shared
journey.
that, Jim? Have you
No,
shared that, Jim, before? I don't know if
no, actually
have you showed?
I never talked about my affirmation
Okay.
box. So listen, you're getting
I like that.
fresh goals. But I will
Yeah.
tell you, listen, we all need to find, I think that's the word today. I'm going to put that on my threads. We all need to find our fuel. So I would tell leaders, find
Yeah.
your fuel. What's your fuel? Like those
Yeah.
affirmations, that's my fuel. On the most frustrating days, that's the fuel. My fuel is my plan. What's my goal? When I look at what was my um, performance? I create a personal performance plan, of all the things that I want to do for the year. Where am I on the plan? How am I tracking? Wow, I got all this stuff
Yeah.
I'm navigating at work, all these projects, all these things I'm pushing. I have 2 businesses I'm running, and look how far I'm on my plan. I'm ahead of schedule. Got it going on. Keep pushing. That's fuel for me. What's your
Yeah.
fuel? Identify that, lean into that, and keep going.
Yeah. One of the things that I've done as a leader, I talk about this, is I want folks to really get to know me. And one of the things, a couple of things that I've done is I have, when I get to a new hotel, get to a new company, I have a box of my things, right? A box of my things I'm putting up on the wall or putting on my desk. And included in that are pictures from my last team or pictures of my family. And I have this jar that I've been carrying around that I have dad isms in there. There are things that I said to my
Mm,
kids growing up.
yeah.
And do a good job in school. Every day I would take them to school, and every single day I would say, do a good job in school. So that was one of the dad isms. Or something my dad used to say, which is, get up. Are you trying to sleep the whole day away? So that was it. And so I started telling my kids that. So I would bring that with me, and I would talk to the team on one of the first days, and I would go through these dadisms, and a way to ingratiate myself to the team and for them to get to know me. But I'm digging this affirmation box that you have, because that's
Mm-hmm.
a deeper way of folks to get to know you, that I might have to switch that up and do something like that and have something like that. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Um, this I have maybe two other questions, and we can wrap up. And normally the plan for this podcast, this is episode number 2. You're number 2 on this list. You're my top two.
I'm doing good for 2026.
Yeah. And so the idea behind my show was that I was going to ask you these two questions off air, and then maybe those would be like, behind the scenes, but we're going to ask them on air. We're going to ask them on air
Mm.
now until I get this thing figured out. So we're going to keep going. If that's okay with you, you got time,
Yes.
good on time, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got time.
All right. So here's the first question. What's a leadership truth you learned the hard way that you wish someone had told you earlier? So this is more than just scraping your knee.
Mm.
This is like,
Mm.
you went to the hospital. So what went terribly wrong? Some leadership truth you learned back then that you wish someone had told you earlier.
It's this leadership truth, I would say, love the question, great question. This leadership truth has actually become a personal principle of mine just in life.
Okay.
But I would say how you do one thing is how you do everything. Nobody does something just one time.
Mm.
And I
Mm.
think about the times that I leaned into being overly empathetic and compassionate towards, like, a coworker or an employee, something that could happen, something that maybe took place, an incident that took place, maybe something that was said a little off color. And not to say that there's not remorse. I think people can make mistakes,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
But certain actions, certain situations, certain comments, it comes from a place. And that's it. This is not just one time.
Yeah.
Certain behavior is not just one time. So you give a chance, whereas maybe a past practice, you didn't give other employees a chance in similar situations, right?
Yeah.
Because you believe, they're in it. They bring out and they just need another chance. And then it comes up again. And then,
Mm-hmm.
we may feel disappointed, like, wow, you know, this was supposed to be a final. This was supposed to be a termination. We had a really hard conversation. Sometimes that works. Not saying it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't. And I think it's absolutely impactful. But even when I think of outside of employees, even leaders that are poor leaders, it's never just one time. That off-color moment that they had with their team or a team member or even a colleague, it's it's rooted in something. It's rooted in
Sure.
a behavior, an ideology, something.
Yeah.
So how you do one thing is how you do everything. I think, watching and just being observant of how people move and operate will reveal to you more than sitting and asking
Absolutely.
them questions in an interview. Pay attention. You'll learn a lot. Stay curious. Always stay curious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, I feel the same way. I think that was something I learned early on as well. They show you who you are right away, right up front.
Hmm.
Just believe it.
Hmm. Every
um,
time.
all right. Final question. What's something leaders say publicly about leadership that doesn't always play out that way in real life? So they say something out loud like, "Oh yeah, this is the way it is," but that really isn't the way it plays out. Is there something like that? Do you have a do you have you run into that?
Yeah, I think a lot of companies will, shout from the rooftops their values. They're no shade, no
Yeah,
shade. Their values, their beliefs,
yeah,
and it's always very telling when you may have a leader explaining that, like say if it's like a forum style or even a department meeting, the expression on the faces of the team reveal a lot
yeah,
if what they're saying actually matches reality.
yeah,
I think it's important to know that values drive your company, they shape your culture, they can inspire employees to really work at the highest level that can really meet your bottom line and deep positive impacts, right? This shouldn't just be a placeholder on the website, but more to often than not, that's common. It is a placeholder on the website. What is lovely to see is top companies that are actually best places to work by vote, not by payment.
yes,
And you look at the reviews of their employees and the above and beyond measure of their experience, of benefits, of offerings. The list goes on and on. And you know how they have that saying like happy wife, happy life?
yeah, hmm,
Happy employees, that environment, they'll go to the end of the world for you. And I think of teams I've had, I think of direct reports that I've had and who I was to them as a leader. And I always was talking about my two superstars. I had quite a few superstars that I have worked with, but
sure,
Binta and Sori at the hotel, especially because this is a hospitality call, so I got to bring them up. Shout out to Binta Diallo and Sori. They were my shining lights. I mean, my department got cut. The budgets got cut for the hotel,
hmm.
and Sori ended up getting furloughed, but she worked up to the last day, and Binta worked for no pay
This was
for three
prior to the
weeks.
pandemic, or this is during the pandemic.
This
This is
is during the pandemic, like
during the pandemic. Okay,
risking, on the train, like, and I'm like, why are you here? She's like, you need help. Give me those papers. And I was like, go home. And she just took a stack of piles of folders and everything out of my desk and went and locked herself in her office.
wow,
Um, I mean, you know what? But listen, when you have a leader who's going to take care of you, who, is going to put you in the Uber both ways, take care of your lunch, make sure you got what's going on. Why would you not? So imagine from enterprise wide when that's happening.
yeah,
Gold.
yeah,
The employees were going to get the gold medal for you. Why would you do yourself a disservice and not ensure that we are doing all that we can?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're doing stuff like that, people will run through a brick wall for you when you see them and you're honoring them and you're knocking down solutions for them and you're
Mm-hmm.
do that for you as well. Especially high stakes like it was during the pandemic. Those were definitely high stakes moments, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, listen, this has been so much fun. Thank you so
Always.
much for coming on to my show and spending time with me. I hope those are lessons learned for you all out there listening live or watching the recording later. This is for you. We want these gems to be things that you can take and put into action
Yes.
yourself right away.
ASAP.
And you can always reach out for follow-ups. How do people get a hold of you, Yasmin? How do people get a hold of you and
Yes.
be able to work with you on what you're doing in your consulting life, or for the women organization that you're running? Tell folks how.
Yes.
hold of you.
Listen, connect. I am a LinkedIn professional.
Yeah,
Send me a DM on LinkedIn. Let's get connected. Let's have a coffee chat virtual. I'm here for all the things.
yeah.
Definitely here for all the things. But yeah, find me on LinkedIn.
All right, awesome, great. And if you don't see her, then you can hit me up on LinkedIn. We're live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube today. So if you're watching there, then just hit me up if you can't find her, and I'll put you two together. I love folks. So with that, everybody, thanks so much. I'm gonna hit the end stream, and then we can hang on here for maybe another 5 minutes just to catch up, because I know there was one other thing I wanted
Sure.
to chat with you about. So let's do
Yeah.
that before we go on to our next